Our final dueling mock draft here of the 2025 NFL offseason draft season. Johnny Venerable, Bo Brack, PHNX Cardinals, and Bo. We're putting a bow on this bad boy. Less than 24 hours from the big dance, and the Cardinals are on the clock with pick 16.
They certainly are, and we've already released 2 of these mock drafts. The third and final one, we're trying to make it as accurate as possible. Johnny, why don't you do the honors and tell us what the Cardinals are going to do day 1 of the NFL draft?
Yeah, I'm going to go chalk. I'm going to stick and pick, and I'm going to go with Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And right now, it's just process of elimination, right? Will Johnson, medical. Derek Harmon, medical. James Pierce Jr., potential off-the-field concerns. Kelvin Banks Jr. is going to be drafted ahead of Arizona, we think. Same with Mykel Williams. So, again, if they're looking to stick and pick, go with a guy with a high RAS score, premium position, somebody they had in their building for a top 30 workout, and somebody that can come in and learn behind Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson, and they can fortify that defensive line with a plus player. I think you and I have been on the same page. Walter Nolan, DT2 in this class, unequivocally now. I like Kenneth Grant, but I think the value at 16 screams the Ole Miss product.
Sign me up. Love his motor. Love how he gets after the quarterback. I think he would be a great long-term fit at the position. And look, there's arguments made, Johnny, for because of bringing back Calais Campbell, because of the signing of Dalvin Tomlinson, like they're set at the position, 32, 38 years old, respectively, for those 2 vets. You got to get some youth in that room along with Darius Robinson. And I think Walter Nolan will be a slam dunk pick out of Ole Miss. Let's slide down to 47th overall, round 2. Look, back-to-back drafts under Monty Ossenfort and back-to-back trade down, many trade downs. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull a mini trade down, Johnny. Now, you can stop me if this is too far, but I think you pull off a trade from 47 and your 5th round pick for 52 and a 3rd and a 5th round pick from your rival Seattle Seahawks. So you just you move down about 5 spots, you add a 3rd round pick, and you're in a good spot here. I think that the Arizona Cardinals should take in that spot, and it's right around Landon Jackson time, but I think they'll take somebody they've done a lot of homework on, and I know that some teams have taken him off their board, but Walter Nolan's Ole Miss teammate, Princely Umanmielen, the pass rusher, I think the Cardinals would love to add him to their rotation.
I dig it. I'm all for pairing a D-tackle, edge D-tackle with the first 2 picks. Princely's a name to watch. Walter Nolan, Princely, let's reunite them in the desert. Let's go to the offensive side of the football with their first now of 2 third-rounders. Cardinals supposedly sniff around some offensive linemen. Nothing warrants it yet, but we fast forward, Bo, to the 3rd round where they got, by the way, interior offensive lineman Isaiah Adams. I think they run it back this year. How about Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, 6'6.5", 310 pounds, big physical kid, has been a part of that infrastructure, that program, ran a sub 540, again, vertical 32 inches, 3-cone impressive, hands 10.5. He is somebody at the end of the day on the big board, right around 74, 75th overall, can come in and play behind Evan Brown initially, eventually take that starting job. Cardinals do a hell of a job, drafting and developing interior offensive linemen, and I think that continues this year. There's just not a player that warrants a guard selection early in this draft, and the Cardinals, they're patient and they're rewarded with Ratledge.
I love that pick. Played at Georgia and was very strong interior offensive lineman for the Bulldogs. I was also looking at Anthony Belton there at NC State, maybe if you went tackle there, but I like it. I told you we added a 3rd with our pick. Let's just skim over this one real quick. I think Chris Paul Jr. would be a nice little addition to the linebacking core. He's athletic, needs to add a little bit more size. Let's get to the 4th round pick here. It's, when you look at the Arizona Cardinals and what they've done so far through the first 3 rounds, we went interior defensive lineman, we went edge, you went interior offensive line. I just took an off-ball linebacker. Now let's look at the secondary. I like a guy like Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. I think he's got good size, and he's somebody that projects to play in Nick Rollis and Jonathan Gannon's secondary.
I like that. I like both of those picks, and I like premium positions. Cardinals looking at corner maybe later in this draft, looking at receiver later in this draft. Let's move ahead to the 5th round, their first of 2 5th-round picks this year. How about Ty Felton? Wide receiver out of Maryland, 6'1", just under 190 pounds, has been ultra productive, right? 15.1 yards per catch in 2023. This year, finally going over 1,000 yards as a receiver, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. The Cardinals, I believe, have met with Felton during the pre-draft process, either top 30 or a virtual visit. They met at the combine. This is the kind of developmental player that you can have stashed behind Michael Wilson, stashed behind Greg Dortch, that you can build up in your program. It's due time for the Cardinals, Bo, to hit on a late round wide receiver.
No doubt about it. That would be a nice little selection for the Cardinals. As you said, there is a little bit of a paper trail there of the pre-draft process. And let's are we rounding things out? Are we going to the 7th round with the final pick for the Cards?
Did you hit both of our 5th round picks? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we had to give up one in order to with Seattle, right? With the trade I made, and then we'll finish it up with another guy that the Cardinals have been tied to. I don't know. I was thinking maybe we go Jalen Smith here, the defensive back out of USC. There's a couple different options there. Anybody else that maybe we should kind of purchase a lottery ticket for in this spot?
I say, if you want to be in the market for a late round safety, like I wouldn't hate that. If there's a couple kids that come to mind that I think Jonathan Gannon would maybe, like a Malachi Moore, right, or a Sebastian Castro. Let's go Malachi Moore. Let's go with my original thought process. Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama, 70 tackles this year, 8 passes defense, kind of a do-it-all player. 2 forced fumbles, I believe 2 interceptions this year for Alabama. Jonathan Gannon, he's a kingmaker at defensive back, safety in particular, played safety at Louisville, and he gets an SEC flyer late rounder. I'm all for it. Rashad Johnson, once upon a time, was a later pick, mid to late round pick out of Alabama, did his job very well in Arizona.
Part of that no-fly zone defensive secondary, and we seem to hit all the notes in our mock draft here. What did you think of it? Where did we hit? Where did we miss? Drop a comment, drop a grade. Of course, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports. For Johnny Venerable, I'm Bo Brack.